We're about to start. Thank you. We just wait for a minute or two for a few others to join.
Hello, everyone. A very good evening to all of you on this special occasion of International Day of Women and Girls in Science. I'm Sonal Katyal, and I'm the Communications Officer of National Center for Biological Sciences. I thank all of you who've joined us and taken out time for the question and answer session that we have brought for you. And we'll be beginning in just 2 more minutes. We are waiting for a few more people to join. And just few ground rules for the meeting. We request you that whatever questions you have, please put that in the Q&A section, and we'll be having some polls we'll ask you to answer. We encourage all of you to participate. So we'll just begin in 1 more minute. Thank you for your patience. So let's begin the session. Today's moderator is Professor Uma Ramakrishnan. She is a molecular ecologist from NCBS and is also a faculty here and inspiration to many of our young female students. And Uma has been working for almost 15 years now, and she's trying to understand how genetics can help us understand the conservation of Indian tigers. She has won the Parker Gentry Conservation Award and the Homi Bhabha Award for Science Education. She's also a fellow of Indian National Science Academy since 2020 and Indian Academy of Sciences since 2021. So thank you, Uma, for taking forward this session. And now I'll hand over it to you. Please introduce our panelists to everyone.
Thank you, Sonal, and thanks for organizing this. Really happy today to have our 3 panelists and to have this very informal session. I know you're all have been listening to a lot of talks. You've been doing your classes online. It's very frustrating, but we're really hoping that this evening today will be more casual and provide an opportunity for you to ask questions and any thoughts or questions you may have. Pardon me. So we're really happy to have with us today Professor Soudamini. Soudamini is a faculty at the NCBS. I think we just lost her. Maybe just put her video off. She'll come back. And she is a bioinformatician and a computational biologist. She works on many interesting things. You might hear a little bit about her work, but she's fascinated by genomes and medicinal plants. And of course, very highly awarded. She's got many awards and she's a member of many academies, Indian National Science Academy, Indian Academy of Sciences, and a J.C. Bose Fellow. I'm sorry. Please forgive my cough.
Uma, do you want to take a break? Or
I'm okay. We also have with us Nandita. Nandita is a postdoc in the Simon Center for Living Machines. She is also a theoretical biologist. I'm sorry, I'll just take a minute.
Maybe we can introduce ourselves. Yeah. Uma?
Yeah, maybe we can do that. Till Uma is back, we have a poll for you.
No, that's okay. I'm back.
Okay. All right.
So Nandita has done her PhD in physics from University of Pennsylvania. And right now she's working at the Simon Center on theoretical ecology. Very exciting and interesting work. We'll hear more from her soon. And we also have with us Anshika. Anshika is really exploring a different frontier. She's a marine scientist. She did her PhD from the National Institute of Oceanography in Goa. And now she's continuing her work on sponges, but trying to also understand much more about what their molecular biology, but also what they can do to help us. So I leave it at that mystery. And I'd love to, I guess, Sonal, you're going to do a poll now, right? We'll have the poll.
Yeah. So before we begin, we have a poll for you. I'm launching it right now. We want to know how confident do you feel about pursuing a career in science? Are you very, very confident? Or is it a little bit and you feel you want more guidance? Or not really, and you right now do not feel much confident about going ahead? We'll just wait for everyone to participate. Meanwhile, I would like to remind you that this is a question and answer session, so you have the opportunity to talk to our scientists. But please post your questions in the Q&A section so we don't miss any of them. So so far we have 45, like a balance between very and a little. 5% of our participants would really like to know more about this career and don't feel that confident at the moment. So it's 77 participation still going. I'll just wait for a few more seconds. Thank you, Uma, for introducing the panel. And I request everyone to please participate in the poll. You might be seeing it on your screen. You can choose one option and click submit. Okay, we are still receiving more answers. Okay.
I think we can go on, no, Sonal?
Yeah. So yeah, we can go on. And so far we have 56% of our audience says they are a little confident. 37% says they are very confident. They can totally see themselves as a successful woman in science, and 8% feel that they would like to know more. So I'm ending, the poll is still going on. Let everyone finish that. But meanwhile, I would like all our panelists to tell us a little about their journey in science so far. What are the things they're working on? So everyone has an idea about you. So we'll start with Dhamini.
All right. Yeah, I'll just start it off here. Are you able to see full screen? Yeah. Okay. So our science is with people, right? Without people, we can't do the science. I have tried to put a collage of my ex-students who have participated in the wonderful journey so far. And of course, there are so many I don't want to introduce, but this is the career trajectory again. It's a typical one. My school, college, until masters were all done in Madras, which is called as Chennai these days. And then I came over to Bangalore for a PhD, then in the Indian Institute of Science. And then for my postdoc, I was in the UK, London, Cambridge, and so on. And then I joined NCBS, and we've been interested in bioinformatics. So the next few slides, what I'm going to show, I try to make it as simple as possible, but if you don't follow, please don't worry. I'm trying to put it as small short stories. Okay. So what is bioinformatics? I was saying, yes, but we are in structural bioinformatics. It's the science of collecting, organizing, and analyzing biological data. Yeah, and then we particularly look at proteins and want to know how they look like, or how do they function, and how are they in genomes. So that's the specific question we ask. All right, and then we work together almost like a family, and there's a lot of independence given in NCBS, freedom of thought, freedom in coming up with our own ideas, and the language is usually that of science. There is a common language that connects us, and people are from all over the country. Having said that, we work not only as a family, but with protein families. For instance, this example is of a protein called resistin. And these are available in plenty in children. And that's why, after a while, they resist eating more food. But as people age, the resistant does not work that well anymore. And that can cause not only people to become fat, but they can also acquire diseases such as diabetes. So we worked on that. And then we also worked on another protein family, which goes around cutting other proteins. These are protein families that can chew up other proteins for a reason, right? So we did some cool work to try and understand how this may be happening in the biological cell. That was it. Then I'll just take you through a couple of very early short stories. One of the kind is called as a myosin. And myosins, they take energy from the cell, and they help other proteins to move around from one part of the cell to another. And this is required for, say, muscle contraction. And this was taken up by one of my students called Divya. And it was continued, and Margaret, the next student, specialized by looking only at the cardiac muscles. And she went on to look at myosins and tropomyosins, for instance, and she did some modeling. This is to show you how these models look like on the computer. That was all wrapped up really nicely by another student called Nasir. And he kind of put it up as a database of myosins. Okay, so this is the sort of story. From one student, it passes on to another, and so on. So talking about the story, and the next I wanted to share with you, really small one, is that of olfaction. Olfaction, this the ability of living beings to perceive other living beings through the source of smell. And mosquitoes also do that, actually, because they reach humans for their blood by means of sensing the human sweat. And this is a kind of a cool collaboration we had tried years ago with a French island called Réunion Island, La Jolla, as it is called. And there the prevalence of chikungunya was the reason why we got interested. And this was continued by this was by Malini, and this was continued by another PhD student who then implored into many genomes and asked how many olfactory receptors are there, which are, are responsible for understanding the smell, perceiving smell. And then this was all wrapped up by Snehal, the third PhD student in the story, who explained, who systematized how to look for them in genomes, how to do three-dimensional modeling of them, and so on. So with these two short stories, I think I will really stop now. And then just to say that these are all, these are the medicinal plants that we have been very fascinated with, Tulsi and Moringa, and some more. And then I would like to stop by saying these are all the current students who continue to, do nice things. And that's it. So I'll wait for some question answers to come from the students and the audience in general. Thank you.
Thank you, Saudamini. It's really nice to see, that, what you shared, that research is really about short stories and continuation of those stories, all mediated by people from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different parts of the country. And freedom and creativity is what really unites us to go forward. Thanks for that. So maybe now I'll ask Nandita to share a little bit about her journey and a little bit about, give a flavor of what she does. Thank you, Nandita.
Hi. So just to tell you a little bit about myself, I did my undergraduate studies at the University of Delhi. And then I went on to do a master's in physics and then a PhD in physics. And actually, at the end of my PhD, I decided that physics did not interest me as much as ecology. And so now I'm shifting to the field of theoretical ecology. But I think I want to say a couple of things that I've learned from my experience in academia, but also in my experience in life so far, rather than tell you a little bit about my work. The first thing that I wanted to say was that, I think that in my experience, most young people struggle with the question of purpose. What should I do with my life? What should my life's contribution be? And I've found that in struggling to answer this question, it's always useful to think of your life's work as a contribution to the larger project of human civilization, in the sense that, human beings are working on science and art and, other forms of creative production, and you can make a contribution to it. And I think in answering that question, you have to know what comes before you. So you have to know, the history that has created you, and I guess the history of what you're interested in, engaging in. And I think once you solve the question of purpose, what you'd want to do with your life, many of these smaller questions, about whether I should do physics or biology or, this or that, they kind of settle themselves on their own. The second thing I wanted to say was that I think many young people struggle with confidence, and partly it's a problem of experience. Partly young people don't have the experience that can give you confidence, but also I think partly it's to do with the fact that many times in your career you encounter people who you look to, educators or elder people, and they can underestimate you or they can put you down. And I think that it's very rare that people are less or more intelligent. It's much more often that people have less or more confidence. And, usually all people are capable of doing different things. So I think young people should be ambitious, don't settle for doing, I guess, less ambitious things because somebody's telling you that you cannot. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And I guess if there are questions about my work, I can elaborate on that later.
Thanks, Nandita. Those are really very, very important things. Purpose is something we are all struggling with today, coming out of 2 years of a pandemic, and the way it has impacted our lives. And also about confidence. I think all of us, even today, have, imposter syndrome, where we think, oh, is that really me? I don't know. I don't think I can do all of that. So thank you so much for sharing that. It's really heartening to hear about that from you. Anshika?
Yes. Hello. So I would like to tell you my journey, which is series of mini transition. I brought up and in North, which was like totally packed with land, but I was always fascinated with ocean right from my childhood. So that is something which inspired my career. I always wanted to do my PhD in ocean, but I had no idea what I will do, because definitely it's a journey. As you grow, you learn and you find your interest. So to young audience, I would say that always don't have the fear to change your plans anytime. Be flexible. I mean, you can have some some contingency plan also, because that is what has worked for me. I have always tried to make a balance in my personal and professional life. So after I did my PhD from National Institute of Oceanography, which was a marine institute, my PhD guide wanted me to go abroad for my postdoc, but it was not possible because of my because of the childbirth and my family, for some family problems. So I decided to do the best whatever is available in that scenario. And I joined for my postdoc in one of the top institutes in India, which is NCBS. I started looking at interdisciplinary things, trying to merge my expertise in marine field with advanced molecular biology. And while I was working on my initial postdoc proposal, which was to understand the immune system of sponges and how these sponges are the simple marine animals. And I can tell you more about it, but I'm sure some of you would already know what are sponges. So how they react to the natural pathogen. While I was studying that, I also found that they also accumulate these tiny pieces of plastic, which was really amazing because there was no report that these sponges accumulate plastic. So that initiated me to write something very, something innovative, something very interesting project, something very independent project. And there are agencies which support women who are with a break in a career, because I had to take a maternity break after my postdoc. So this is again another point where I want to tell you that it's possible. There are supports. You have to be just attentive, and you have to know about what all supports are there from the government as well as people around you, which can support you in such circumstances. So right now I'm working on this exciting project, where I'm trying to see how these marine sponges can accumulate the microplastic, which are tiny pieces of plastic, and whether they can actually solve the problem of these plastic. As you know, we are surrounded by plastic. So yeah, you can
Thank you
always
so much.
contact me.
Thank you so much, Anshika. Yeah, it's really nice of you to share your personal journey and the challenges which all of us face many times and at different points in our life. So we're already almost at 25, and there was I just wanted to mention, maybe we won't go into this in detail, that this year's theme is equity, diversity, and inclusion, that water unites us all. And I think this is something which we perceive so many differences, we have so many biases. It's a good thing to keep in mind that water really does unite us all. And we should really be thinking more about equity, diversity, and inclusion. So with that, I'll go on to the first question, because it's really nice to be able to ask questions. It's slightly long. Please bear with me. Hi, I'm in the 11th grade. I also did a research on genetics at Delhi University South Campus with Professor Manchikatla Venkat Rajam and Professor Thelma. I'm completely in love with genetics. I'm more into human genetics. I'm also writing a review on cystic fibrosis with Professor Ranjan Nanda's help from IGIB. I love to study genetics and want to become a research scientist. This is from Deepshika, by the way. Diksha Mawai. I love to become a research scientist. I have showed a dramatic growth in the previous years. It would be lovely to know more about how I can keep going. So I don't know, maybe Saudamini, you wanted to take that?
Yeah. I think it's amazing at this age, if you're already so focused and you're writing a review. Oh wow, so impressed. Way to go. And keep doing what you like to do, because you seem to be already in the right place, and you can feel free to talk to us. There is no problem. You can talk to either Uma or me, or and yeah, so there are so many people who work on genomes, and also have dedicated institutes. So you should really take your time, maybe talk to us, and then we can tell you where you may be better placed, more in a more specialized center. So that's very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Saudamini. Then there's a question about how can I be more productive and have a positive outlook even when things get very hard. This is from Apurva Singh, and maybe I'll ask Anshika and then Nandita to answer. Anshika?
Okay, so yeah, definitely I can answer this. I will tell you what I do. Okay, so when things really get hard and I become very disappointed or sometimes very demotivated, I look at my past achievement, especially those which has come after solving some challenge. I had some problem and I was nervous at the same time in the past, but I worked on it. I did not leave my stand, and I kept it going, and it got solved. So, learning from your own past success, cherishing it and remembering it and using it as a motivation, that has helped me. I'm very sure all of you must have gone through some of the hurdles in the past which you successfully conquered. So it's all your positive outlook which you want, and you can yourself motivate.
Thank you, Anshika. Nandita?
Yeah, actually, in the same vein, I also look at, I guess it always gives me some comfort to look at people from history. And, in particular, out of scientists, I am really inspired by D.D. Kosambi, because, he kind of dedicated his life to, I guess, the search for truth, even beyond his field. And, he faced many hardships. And actually, if you look at any of these figures, from the freedom struggle or even the era after that, they're people who have really faced hardships. And when you compare the problems you face to what they overcame, it can really show you, things in perspective. So yeah, that's what I would say.
That's great to hear, Nandita. And I think that, I was recently, I haven't read it yet, but I saw this book called Lady Doctors, which seems to be very interesting about early women doctors in India and what all were the challenges that they faced. And that's really nice to think about, that, people in the past have actually faced so many challenges. Sometimes that doesn't help. It's good, but, it's difficult to say, oh, somebody else has had it much worse off than me. But yeah, it is important to remember that you yourself can actually conquer this, whatever the challenge is, and to also take inspiration from those before you. And also, I would like to add, I always remember those who believe in me. There are so many people who have maybe recommended me, promoted me, helped me, talked to me through my career. And if whatever the challenge, they must have believed in something. So the fact that you can actually get this far, maybe you can get a little bit further. So there's a question from Sabrina. She's Sabrina Ibrahim. She says, I'm pursuing my PG in zoology at Kashmir University. I'm in my first semester, and I don't understand whether it will be better for me after PG, or what should I do once I complete my PG. After 2 years, I just want myself to be able to support my family, but I don't know how I would be able to do so. What should I do further in my field so that I can fulfill my dreams and support my family? Such questions stress me a lot. Maybe I will get a solution from all of you respected scientists. Maybe Saudamini, I'll ask you to take that, and then if any others want to jump in.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, my suggestion would be to go for something that you like to do. You seem to be interested in science, so go for it. Because we should be doing what we like to do on a daily basis. That's very important. So I would suggest you go and work in science, and in terms of being able to support your family, people, and so on, that will naturally happen. Because thanks to the government initiative these days, the support, whether it's a student stipend or a postdoctoral fellowship, they are pretty good. They may not compete with the company salaries, but they are pretty good in the sense that it's enough and more to support your loved ones as well. So you should really go for what you like to do, which seems to be science. Don't worry about the fact that you will have to support other people. You would be able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really important point, that as you keep doing what you like, you will do well, and there will be opportunity to support your family, and also that you'll be happy. And I think that is the best support that you can give to your family, is to also be happy in what you're doing. There's a question now from Anusha Gupta. I'm from Jhansi, ma'am, in class 10. Would love if my dream of becoming a successful doctor comes true, as I totally love to study biology. Tell me how to do it. I have just decided to be serious and select PCB in the 11th. Please give me some tricks and solutions for what I should do. Maybe Nandita, I'll let you get this.
Well, I don't know if I have much to say.
Well,
Because
the
I think
question
there
is
are,
generally about how to be successful, right?
right.
How to
Well,
achieve
yeah,
your
I
goal.
think there are no tricks really in this, unfortunately. But I think more than anything, it's just some kind of perseverance that, you have to keep at it, and you have to not be discouraged if things don't go the way you think they're going to go. And eventually, if you keep at it, it will happen. So I guess that's, and I mean, I don't know the details of how to become a doctor, but you should definitely get some guidance on that from, somebody in your school.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's nice to have these lofty ideas, but practical tips are also really important. And sometimes we don't have exposure to them. We don't know about these practical tips. So somehow finding that would be really good also. Anshika, you want to add?
Yeah, I would like to add one suggestion that it not just in the medical field, any field, wherever, whatever you want to be there, always look for a role model at each stage. Suppose you want to go into the medical, so you want to clear a entrance exam. Talk to the people who are in the first year of the medical college. It's very easy. I'm very sure if you find your relatives and your distance relative, you will find a lot of them. Talk to as many as possible. Take their experience and advice. They are the best. Then for the next stage, when you want to do your PG after you have completed your doctorate degree, again you have to reach out to the role model or the people who are the experts in that field and take their advice. And this goes for any field. I mean, yeah, that's what
Great,
we all
Anshika, because this next question is also kind of something you can address. What should be a preference in research? PhD in India or abroad? I'm particularly interested in microbiology.
uh I can tell my opinion, but it's totally my opinion. Okay, so when I could not do my, it's a personal experience. When I could not do my postdoc from abroad, I was like, people were looking at me like, okay, I mean, maybe you will not do so well. But it's like, but I'm at the very good institute and I have no regrets, because what if like you go abroad and you do not end up in a good institute, and there are a lot of other things, right? In India there are a lot of good institutes and you have a very good mentorship, plus you will not have the other problems which you might face if you leave your country. So never think that doing your PhD or postdoc from abroad, that's the only option, otherwise it's end of your career. It's never like that. It's you. I mean, your problems will be the same at both the places. If you can excel in India, you will excel abroad also. If somehow you cannot be so excellent in this field in India, then even going to abroad will not make a lot of change. Yeah,
Thanks for
it's
that,
all in
Anshika. I
you.
think Sonal wants to do a poll, and there's lots of questions pouring in. I'm trying to keep pace. But Sonal, you're doing a poll now?
Yeah,
You lost electricity.
yeah. Hi, everyone. We have another poll for you. I'm just launching it. We would like to know that what exactly do you see as your greatest challenge that you're facing, or you think you might face in the future? There are a few options that you can see on the screen. And I'll be posting a link to a Padlet, which is a website where you can put some sticky notes if the options that you want to mention are not in the poll. So I'll just post that in the chat box.
While that's happening, I have to say, really amazing. We seem to have people who've joined us from different states, from Jhansi to Telangana to Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir. Very nice to see so much of active participation. One of the advantages of these online forums. So thank you all really for joining. Sorry, I won't distract you. Please.
And there's somebody who is saying they're from Pune. So yeah, we've got
great.
Everyone from all across our country.
All corners of India.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
So we have 53 participation so far. I would like the panelists to know that most of them have voted that their challenge is lack of confidence. And then is family responsibilities and male dominance at educational institute or workplace, and lack of funding to pursue education. And then is lack of family support. And the least vote is might not or am not allowed to work post marriage. So there are a few other options. Two people have put in the Padlet. So they are still voting, but the highest vote is still lack of confidence. So would any of you like to talk about that?
Nandita, maybe you can start, and then Saudamini and Anshika.
Yeah, I mean, I already said what I think of this, but I think that, this is, I just want to assure everybody that this is not something that only you struggle with. I think most people, and I think this is across, genders. I think men struggle with it also, although maybe not to the extent that women struggle with it. And I think that, partly it's to do with, I don't know how to say this clearly, but maybe, it's to do with the fact that our youths in general are underconfident about their abilities to contribute to society, to be, and I think, it has to do with the world and how it's built right now. But I mean, really, there's no, more or less intelligent people. There's really, it's really a question of how much you put in and how much you believe in what you're doing. So I would say, don't be underconfident. I know it's easier said than done, but don't be underconfident. If you believe that something is the right thing to do, and you think you can make a contribution, you should go ahead. And if somebody tells you that it's not so, then you should fight it.
Thanks. Saudamini, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think I agree with what Nandita has just said. Over and above that, what I might say is, for you to feel confident, first of all, you should appreciate yourself. And the fact that you're interested in something is what has brought you to the place. So my biggest suggestion would be yourself. That will solve many problems, because you don't have to change. You don't have to become extra special, and people around you, your mentors, are there to take the best out of you and train you. So I think it's important to persevere, as someone said, and then be yourself, be confident. Confidence will automatically come. The more involved we are with our work, the more we become confident. Involvement is very important, I feel. Yeah.
Thank you, Saudamini. That's really true. I mean, I think we sometimes there are so many of the social expectations. You should be like this, you should dress like this, you should be like this, you should like this, like that. We forget who we are. And so then we cannot be confident, because we're always trying to be something which someone else wants.
Yeah.
Anshika, you want to add something?
No, I think it's all covered. I would say the same
Great.
thing. Just be confident and be yourself. That is very important. Love what
So I
you're
just
doing.
wanted to read out a very nice message from Safia Maharaj. She says, myself Safia Maharaj from Jammu and Kashmir, Srinagar. I am overwhelmed to see you all here, particularly Dr. Saudamini. She is an inspiration to me, and I'm trying to follow in her footsteps to move ahead with my questions. How a woman in science can take a lead to bring more women into this field? So, Saudamini, you want to start?
Thank you, Safia, and thank you, Uma, for reading it up. So I don't know. I mean, it takes a long time to get into all this, to bring other people, other women into the forefront, and it happens very naturally, I tell you. So first of all, at your age, I assume you're all young, even Safia is a student, right? So there is no problem. There is no problem in kind of assuming a role model. It could be even me, it's okay. But I think it's at this age, it's important to have a role model, because you need someone to look upon, and you may not do exactly what they are doing. You might differ, but it's important at this age. And after you start to specialize, you will realize that there is no role model. Each one's life is diverging and becoming different. And by that time, you would have that control and confidence to take your work the way you want as well. Yeah, I think you're thinking right. It could have been anyone else, but it's nice to have a role model. That's good. And don't worry about how you can empower other women. It will happen automatically. You will find yourself in a state where you're without realizing helping others. That should happen naturally.
Thanks, Saudamini. That's great. That's really true. I also feel like one of the most amazing experiences, parts of being a academic, is really understanding, getting to know students, interacting with them, and helping them to choose their career trajectories and move forward. Many of them, naturally women, and see them growing. So Anshika or Nandita, you want to add something here?
Yeah, so may I just have a general comment, because there are many questions about what sort of subjects should they take in the 12th standard if they're interested in science. So I think it's important, I feel, that they don't specialize too early. It's important to do your bachelor's and master's in general areas, whether it's chemistry or physics or biology, it's okay. So that you gain the basics very well, and afterwards there'll be opportunity to specialize,
Yeah, I agree. And, I like to probably add, and as you can see with both examples from Anshika's career trajectory and also from Nandita's, that, you can study something and you can end up doing something else. So Anshika was, pure studying marine biology. Now she's working on molecular biology. Nandita did her PhD in physics, and now is taking that, those tools and applying them also in the context of theoretical ecology. I have every single degree in a different field. So probably, I don't know, I might have a hard time getting a job. They won't know which department I should work in. But I think that actually having a diversity, different subjects, studying different things, it is something which opens your mind. And science research is about opening your mind and looking at a thing in a different way. So I think when we're young, we think, oh, it's try to do this or that is so important, but these decisions later on, they're not so important. The important thing is to really learn while you're in that situation and grow mentally through it. Okay, I'm going to ask another question. I'm Anushri Krishnamurti, master student at IBAM. I'm very passionate and about neuroscience research primarily, as well as science communication. I founded a digital science communication initiative called the Science Paradox. Also started out with a trainee-led neuroscience organization called Project Encephalon to further my goal of communicating science to the general public. My question is based on something that I have faced and have seen fellow volunteers in my initiatives face. Which is that it's paradoxical that as students, we look for internships in order to gain experience, but all applications require us to mention if we have prior work experience. And we end up feeling lost. I would love to know about options. How do we get rid of this paradox and that many of us undergraduate and graduate level students face? I think this is a very important question. Maybe I'll let Anshika go first, and then Nandita and Saudamini.
Yeah, again, I can answer from what I think can be done as a suggestion. So, I totally understand if you are applying to some field where you don't have prior experience, they do ask you for the experience. So one thing could be like, you can go for some internship, short-term internship, okay, which will definitely help, and try to prove yourself through those internship is important. I mean, because I would the world is full of competition, and even a good internship or internship of some sort will can keep your CV at like some, yeah. So that's what I think, that go for internship in that field. That should be doable.
Yeah. Nandita?
Yeah, just the one thing I would add is that, you shouldn't be afraid to write to professors. I think most professors at universities are welcoming of emails, and meetings to ask them what you should do. And I mean, also other people who work in academia. So yeah, I mean, you can also approach people informally, and it doesn't always have to be through a formal channel like Professor Saudamini was saying.
Yeah, I think so. It's important to have connections, have a networking. This forum is also one thing that can enable that. You should keep looking out for opportunities, and the earlier you kind of connect with people, the better. Because unfortunately, there are more people and lesser research institutions and labs, right? So if you want to do internship, better we approach them. Like Nandita said, without getting afraid, you should write to them, show that they are interested, so that they can also accommodate you. And once you're in one lab, and then you can go to another, and from them you get a reference letter, and then if you continue to do well, I'm sure the trajectory will shape from there.
Yeah, I think you all bring up a very important point that I don't remember the statistics now, but I think there's very, very few scientists as a proportion of the population size in India. So the opportunities naturally become very, very few, and this makes it difficult to get these internships. And just to give a slight perspective, when we in a lab say we take on interns, it is a responsibility for us also, right? It's not just that you just come in, we just you're just like in the lab and you can just hang around. We have to ensure that there are learning opportunities for all of you, and you'll be working with sometimes precious material, maybe something which has taken a lot of time to generate and so on. So we have to ensure that it is a good outcome for both the lab as well as for the student. So sometimes that's why actual hands-on internships become a little challenging to have many, many people. But I'm sure there's ways in which we can engage and interact so that people get opportunities of exposure. So I'm going to read out a question now from Yajini Satyamurti. Ma'am, it's been a year since I completed grade 12, waiting for admission into BTech Energy and Environmental Engineering at Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, which was delayed due to various reasons. Single-minded about pursuing this and becoming a research scientist later. The academic gap has not really dampened my spirits, and I write on science and sustainability, but not everyone around me is okay with this idea of the course as well as the gap. Am I in the right trajectory? Maybe Anshika, you want to take this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like don't worry about the gap. If you show that you are doing something, there are a lot of things. If you're not actually engaged with some institute, and side by side, if you have taken a gap, there are other things you can do these days. I mean, either writing a paper or a blog, or upgrading your skills, going for online classes, or getting some training, some sort of training online. So those are the things which you can do side by side. So don't worry about these gaps. If you prove that you have utilized this period for something, it will be useful. I mean, you have to be confident about answering.
Yeah, and it's not a race, right? I mean, I think we feel like that. We feel like that when we're in school because we're always on a treadmill, but it's not really a race. And any experience you can get would be probably really useful. Would anyone else like to add to that? Or maybe Nandita, some thoughts because of, say, like career transitions itself, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that if you think what you're doing is correct, you should go ahead with it. And, ultimately, a year or two at this stage really doesn't matter. And, 10 years down the line, you look back at it and you'll say, why did I even worry about this? So I would say, yeah, keep at it.
Thank you. Now, this question is also, it's actually a very pertinent question, very practical question. In case of statement of purpose, it says for Saudamini ma'am, and anyway, but we can take a look at it. In case of statement of purpose, writing statement of purpose for admission to PhDs and so on, what are the key points that are being searched for by professors? Saudamini, you want to take it?
Yes, I was going to say that it's very important to be original. You shouldn't copy it from anywhere. We are not looking for a glamorous, very impressive write-up. It should be original. It need not work. You are allowed to write some scientific hypothesis or experiment that's unlikely to work. That is fine. But we just want to understand how you're thinking. And if the professors are going to not kind of filter, will not take your application because it's not sound, they are being wrong. Because it's just about how you think, and it could be your original idea. That's important, I feel. Yeah.
Anyone like to add to that?
Also, I think when you are applying for the PhD position in some lab, for example, try to see that whatever proposal you have written that aligns slightly with that lab. It should not be totally out of the box. I mean, it's important because it should not be totally out of that field. I mean, okay, because you are applying to the lab, you should have done some reading what kind of work is done, and then get some inspiration, what kind of techniques are followed. Actually, those are very, very important, so that when you are designing your project proposal, you mention those techniques. Most of the labs, they have the established techniques. Either you are the one, if you're doing your PhD, you bring a new technique, like your PhD is all about bringing a new technique, then it's totally a different way. But if you're working, you're in the just adding to that same field using some of the already established technique, you should have referred those papers and then made your proposal accordingly. It will be really helpful.
Thank you. So I think Sonal wants to come in again. Sonal?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Before we proceed on to, I think, the last few questions, we have some takeaway cards for all of you, some inspirational quotes from some of our scientists from NCBS. So I'll be sharing that in the chat box. So you have three quotes from three scientists, and we've combined them in one card, and we have like different options that you can use as your desktop wallpaper, or you can print that or save it in your phone. So just wanted all of you to download that and keep a tab on the chat box. Please continue the questions, Uma. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sonal. That's really nice of you to prepare that. That's very kind. So there's also I think a very important question, which is little, and I'd like you all to maybe answer this a bit specifically based on your experience. How do you choose the area you want to study? Of course, a generic answer is just, whatever you're passionate about or whatever you're interested in, but maybe a little bit more details if each of you can give, that would be really nice. Maybe we'll start with Nandita.
Yeah, actually, I think this is a very important question, because, initially when I started my career in physics, and I did my undergraduate degree also in physics, so it was a very specific degree. I was actually kind of looking up to people around me and, looking at what they had done and kind of following in that model. And although I enjoyed it, it came naturally to me, so I enjoyed it. But as I got older, I developed more of an interest in society and, the issues you see around you in society. And I felt that my work was getting very abstract. I couldn't connect my work to what I saw around me. And, in particular, I think the question of poverty really bothered me. So, all of these questions, I think it gets to what I was trying to say in the beginning. What is the purpose that you want to dedicate your life to? And actually, I decided to switch to ecology because I feel that, it's close to agriculture. And 60% of our economy is still agriculture, it's still the farmers. And so I think, ultimately some broader spiritual questions have to guide what you choose to ultimately do. But that being said, I think any field you do choose, there are important contributions that you can make to society in general. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you. Saudamini?
I feel that when we were your age, when we were in school years ago, I think we had very limited options. So either medicine or engineering. So now the options are a lot. A lot of things are spread, and it's both a virtue as well as a problem. Because it's a virtue because you don't have to, just take one or two. You can go on to do something which was unusual earlier. So that's a virtue. But the problem is, people are confounded at a very young age about what they should be doing in a very specialized manner, which we were unable to know. None of us were knowing, if we look back at our trajectory, this is where we will land up. So I think you shouldn't get very pressurized or stressed about it. That's also the reason why I was suggesting that you take a basic course, And then there's always time. You will meet people, you will get inspired by people who come across your way, or you reach them. And you can always specialize and choose your path, career path, a little later. So you shouldn't feel very stressed that you don't yet know what you want to do. Yeah, it's better to keep it general, I think.
Thanks, Saudamini. Anshika?
I will just add one point that also don't be afraid to make transition at later stage. There are a lot of options always available. You can always learn new skills. It will definitely add, and trust me, all your older skills will still be helpful. So always look in integrating whatever skills you have done. And these days, it's like a trend also. The more skilled you are in different field, people really like it. It makes you very unique as a person. It's like a unique combination of different skill, and you will find something very suitable. So never be afraid to even change, because you should be interested at every stage.
Uma, do you mind if I say one more thing? No, I just want to say also that I feel when you're at the end of school, when you're in college, and you have time on your hands to explore different things. And I think that you should take that opportunity and read, read history, read the great classics, whatever you can get your hands on, and build that. It doesn't have to be restricted to what you want your career to be. I think getting a broad education is so important, and it'll help you make sense of life later, So I just wanted to say that.
Great. So I think, thanks for sharing these cards, Sonal. I think they're really cool. There's one last question we'll take, maybe. It's already 7, but maybe we'll just, I'm sorry to all of you whom we couldn't answer your questions. I hope a lot of people have shown appreciation of this session, that it was really nice to be able to, one-on-one interact with all of you. So thank you so much for your time. And I don't know whether there's any last thoughts you want to give anyone, Anshika, Saudamini, Nandita, any last thoughts?
I don't mean to be the last one to say, but I just wanted to add that whatever you might feel that there is a gender bias or anything, I think it's important to remember that as leaders, what they look for are who are the people who will do a particular job. They don't particularly worry about what gender they are in. So that we have to convince ourselves. And so long as we are able to kind of effectively deliver our job in time, and we are being very effective and reliable, people will come to you. So you shouldn't necessarily think that gender will come in the way.
Yeah, we have to believe that. Otherwise, we would not even get started, right? We would be so depressed, we wouldn't even get started. And do your best, as Saudamini is saying. So I guess the poll is back here. Sonal, the poll is back.
Yeah, and after this session, we would like to know if you feel any better informed about pursuing a career in science. Of course, a 1-hour session won't change things, overnight, but we really hope that, some of the things that our researchers shared with you were helpful, and maybe have guided you to take, the next step towards, be it, choosing subjects in your 11th grade or choosing subjects post 12th grade. So yeah, and I totally agree with like Saudamini said, that we should keep the options open. At this younger age, there's this social norm in India that, you have to pick one thing and that you have to pursue, but that's not how it works. Even with me, I started with I took physics, bio and maths till my 12th grade. Then I pursued physics. Then I took science communication. And being in that field, I'm studying and learning about genetics. I'm learning about different biological sciences. Sometimes it's about chemistry. So you never know which direction life would take you. So as long as you are happy, I think, yeah. So we have
Thank you so much. Yeah, sorry.
Poll results. We have like a more people push towards. They feel a little more motivated. There's one person who feels that they're not motivated at all. But something anybody would like to say to them that they feel more confident about their career choice.
Can they say in one word, one sentence, what is the problem they are facing?
Yeah, if they would like to share in the, I think the chat is closed. Yeah, if you want to share that in the
What is
chat,
bothering them?
we would really like to see how we can help you. Till then, just ending the poll now. Maybe they're not comfortable, but I hope.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
I think that I mean, yeah, it is difficult to come on and speak out like that, but you know, it's something maybe you can always write to us. We can try. We may not be able to answer all your questions, very specific questions also. But thanks so much for joining, all of you, and a happy International Day for Women and Girls in Science. Science is a creative enterprise, and all should participate in science. And when all participate in science, only will we have truly exceptional science, which is the way of the future. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Sonal, and thank you, Uma, for this for hosting us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Uma, Nandita, Anshika, Sadhamini. And it was a great session. I would like to thank everyone who participated for giving 1 hour from your precious time to us. We hope this session was of some help. Please do keep a tab on our Twitter account, our Instagram and Facebook. We'll try to do more of such sessions that can be of help to you. Please stay connected and have a lovely evening, everyone. Bye.
bye.
Bye.